Hi, good day, everyone. The name is ErnestTheron. I stay in San Remo. I'm originally from Athlone, stayed in Mitchells Plain for 12 years, Spitsway in Strandfontein, Lotus River back to Strandfontein. The Mitchells Plain came about Portland at the time, more or less the same time when Strandfontein was established. The choice was between Mitchells Plain, Strandfontein. Mitchells Plain came first, and that's where I then settled for 12 years. A lot of my earlier days I spent in the Karoo, Bridgetown specifically. There where you have to make fire under the tap to get out the water because so cold it is, etc. Political awakeness came when I came back to Cape Town, the old Standard 4, when schools had upstairs and downstairs, and I couldn't understand what is the difference between the two. So it was English and Afrikaans. And that awakening my curiosity politically. Further to that, professionally, I'm a boilermaker by trade. I was an HR manager for the Eastern Cape newspapers, HR manager for New Metro Cinemas, CEO of the Provincial Development Council, which is basically a miniature NEDLAC, which was disestablished by the DA administration when they became the government at the time in 2009, because they felt they wanted to speak to people directly. But we'll get to that later. Further to being a CEO, I'm also a postgraduate holder from the University of Cape Town in Labour Law and Social Security. Furthermore, I hold an MPhil from Stellenbosch University in Management and Executive Coaching. I pride myself on ethical behavior, and my word is my honor. I don't agree to something unless I totally commit to it. And I'm sure my fellow councillor, currently still on the right, will attest to that. But we'll get to later how we engage in the interest of the community. How we disagree at times, but that will come later. In terms of community, taken from my earlier days to where we are now, people has always been a passion for me. People, when I say people, I mean in all spheres of people, whether it is the underdog has always been the cause I champion. So to speak. So if you take Strandfontein, we are not the owners of production, so we are the poor, and we're part of the working class. And that is my passion. I think my colleague, Councillor Jansen, was pointing out that in terms of people, what is desperately needed is social cohesion. Because that is what lacks, not just between different classes of people, but also different races of people. And we know the reason for that. The one cannot live or survive without the other. It's a fallacy if we think so. We need to rely on one another to be able to prosper all together. And that's the only way we'll proceed. But when we work together and we recognize one another's values, we come with in different shapes and sizes, but each individual has got a unique value to add to anything in society and to one another's lives. And therefore, it's constantly my fellow councillors using the word of building bridges. I prefer the word social cohesion, but I think it's far more integral to do that. We will see sometimes the protests around us. Sometimes it's by design, and sometimes out of frustration. And it's possibly, if you understand better what annoys others, even in Strandfontein. There's a difference between Bayview, Strandfontein. You always find people see things differently. But that's how we are. If we are all seeing things the same, life will be very boring. But it's how we engage with that and to the betterment of us all, and not a winner and loser scenario. So that is where it will be our undoing if we do that. What has happened over the last 5 years, I'm sure we'll engage with later. But my commitment is fully that my business is people, progression of people. And although I'm a member of the African National Congress, I've always been, it's been my life. I've also been a president of a trade union, which is the Food and Allied Workers Union, commonly known as FAO, from the late 83s right up to almost year 2000. So people has always been my business, no matter in what shape or form it is. I thank you.